This is what I started with, and after hours of cutting, glassing, and grinding, I've completely transformed my boat deck. No more rot, no more wood. Here's how I did it.
Please don't break. All right, as you can see here, this side is perfectly fine. These sheets are 48 inches wide. It's about a quarter of an inch, maybe half an inch, quarter of an inch. Just too big, which is good because we'll just shave it off. Not bad. We're gonna have to do this floor in 3 pieces. These rear parts here, the middle part, and then the front part. We said we were gonna use the K-cell composite board up here. I've already made my template. Now we gotta cut that out of K-cell, and then we gotta laminate the whole thing together. I'm gonna trace out the template for K-cell. All right, we got the floor in. Now we gotta laminate this whole thing. So all this stuff, push this stuff down, trimmed it out. Now we're gonna take everything out and laminate it together. That'll be our entire floor. This is going to be the underside. So we're going to laminate the other side up. Now we got to cut out a layer of 1708. We're going to roll this up. Yeah, so the mat will go up. It'll be the mat that we just cut up, and then 1708. Then we need to do a second layer of 1708. So let's start cutting. I flipped over the deck because we're going to start laminating the bottom. I have my mat that I'm ready to put down, and then I cut out 2 layers of 1708, and they're going to go on that. Everything's laid out. So 1 layer mat, 2 layers of 1708. We'll let it cure, then flip it over and put it in the boat. All right, so we got the bottom 2 sides laminated. I trimmed off the excess. We got the 2 layers underneath with the mat, and now we're gonna do the top deck. So before I put this in the boat, I want to get a layer of mat in there, because the layers of 1708 that are going to go on here are all going to be bigger and bigger all around. So it'll be, 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches. So 2, 4, 6, and it'll lay up on the actual hole. So. All right, I'm gonna start with the tip up here with the bow area. I got my low profile resin. I catalyze at 1%, that's 10 cc's, well really 9 cc's, but we'll start with that. And I'm gonna do it in pieces because it's a lot easier that way, instead of laying out the whole thing, kind of pressured to hurry up and stuff. So, but let's go ahead and roll this out here. We'll pre-wet it. We wanna wet this out, and then let's put this guy in here. We got a test fit for the deck, so overall came up pretty good. All right, I'm almost ready to put the floor back in, but I put the cap temporarily in so I can measure where exactly I need to put my rigging tube. So this is where the center console goes over here. There's a wall here, and this is where the sea deck goes. So I'm shooting for straight in the middle of the console, and then that tube over there, I marked the next there. So I'm going to be putting a rigging tube here in the center. All right, we got our rigging tube that's going to be used. That's going to be for all our electrical or steering, everything's gonna go through here. I've used this piece back there with an opening. That way, any water that comes in, it can flow backwards. And I am gonna lift this up a little bit, so it'll be lifted up just a little bit. I lay down the pipes, a layer of 1708. And then once I put the floor in, I'll laminate around here too to hold it around the deck. So everything's ground out, ready to receive the deck. I cleaned everything up with acetone. I'm gonna come in and vacuum a little bit. I also flipped the deck upside down, and I've sanded the bottom. All this I sanded where it's gonna sit on top of those stringers. I'm gonna wipe this down now. I'm gonna prepare my FCA putty. Hopefully my dad will help me out. You wanna do this with as many people as possible. I got all my bricks laid out, and I'm all laid out here, so they're just easy to grab and put on once the floor is in. So I got my FCA putty, and this is the lightweight bonding FCA polyester putty, and this is what we're going to use to bond the deck with the stringers. And this is the same stuff that I use on the transom as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up over here. I'll have my dad mix it up while I lay down the putty to fill up the gaps. Instead of using the bonding putty, I'm going to use the polyester, the vinyl ester putty, the radius putty. This one's a little bit easier because of its properties to sand. So we're going to bond with this, and then we'll fill the gaps with this guy. You know, one thing that I didn't think about, I thought about it before, but I didn't use this time because I was in a hurry, as I usually am, is using a piping bag to lay that structural putty on the stringers and not make such a mess. It just makes things a lot easier and smoother. Alright, I got all the weight, and I got the deck down, and I tried to fill the gaps in with some of the FCA putty and the vinyl ester putty. So now all we got to do is wait for this to cure. I'm going to come back tomorrow, sand the deck, and then we're going to start laying our glass. We're going to do 3 layers of 1708. All right, it's the next day, and this floor is pretty solid. So we're ready. Everything is cleaned out, ground out. Now we're going to lay in and cut our fiberglass. You can see I got my pieces cut out for the floor. Instead of doing lengthwise, I'm going side to side because our roll is only 48 inches, and we need to go further up on the sides than that. So there's 3 parts. Let's start, that's good there. Let's roll this side, look. So I want to apologize because I thought I was filming, and I was filming, but my SD card ran out of space last night. So I put it on a time lapse to try to get me and my dad doing all the layers of fiberglass on the deck, but it cut out, I realized after. So it's the next day, and we have some light so we can actually see, and the floor is, I mean, everything came out fantastic. I'm really happy with how it came out. This thing is as solid as a rock. It feels so strong. Let me give you a quick breakdown of what we did. So we used 3 different materials for the actual deck. So we have polyfoam back there. We have our Davinicell, our Diab Davinicell over here, and then we have our K-cell composite board over there. The reason why I chose to do these 3 pieces, well, number one sheet worked for this from here to there, which is a 4x8. And I still had those extra pieces back there. Nothing's going to really go back here. Nothing that's going to screw into there. And that's what I had. I had some foam board, polyfoam board pieces there. And the reason why I chose K-cell composite board up here was because the fuel tank goes up here, and that will get screwed down to the deck. And the K-cell composite board has a better screw retention than the Diab Davinicell does. We did 1 layer of matte over everything. Then we did 3 layers of 1708. And then we finished with a matte layer up to here. We feathered that out, so there's really no hard edges there. I did not put matte in here because nobody's going to really see this part. I did use matte here. We're gonna try to fare that out and make it as nice as possible. It's not gonna be flat. So really everything from here to about here where there's a bulkhead is what we're gonna actually, what people are gonna actually see. So, all right, everything's ground out. And now, like I said before, I'm gonna come in and fare from this point all the way to about here, because this is all going to be covered. So we're going to wipe this down with acetone, and then we're going to come in with the fairing compound. All right, we're going to use the super polyfill from FGCI, and this is what we're going to use to do the fairing. And this stuff is great. It's really easy to sand. Gel time 15 minutes. And you can start sanding this after about 30 minutes. So let's get to work. I'm out of light and I'm out of time. One pass of fairing compound is enough. This floor was never smooth from the beginning. I want to have enough space. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is, because how we're going to attach this to the actual hole, is I got these pieces of K-cell composite board, and I marked them now on the floor, because we're going to drill into that. I'll show you in a second. It's going to sit on the inside of this console, and then we're going to drill on the side into here. That's what we got. I'm going to come in and laminate with some 1708. I made some peanut butter. So this is just resin with fumed silica right at the edge. Just make a little small radius, just so that fiberglass has a nice edge to roll off of. I already pre-cut everything. That's glassed in. I just finished wiping down the whole hole with acetone, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and tape this up, and we're going to start with our first layer of Gelcoat. I've decided to go with a light gray. This Gelcoat, this is just your regular white. Now to get the gray, you need to use this pigment, and all the stuff I get from FGCI. So this is a pigment dispersion. This color is called Lamp Black. Alright, so this is the color that I've chosen, and I'm going to do one layer and see how I like it, and we'll go from there. So let's start rolling this out. And this has no wax. Using also a 3/8 nap roller. So I got a coat of Gelcoat that I mixed up to get this color, and it's going to be too hard to keep matching them, so I'm going to use more Gelcoat than I originally thought. I got a gallon of Whisper Gray from FGCI. I'll show you that in a second. You guys will see it now in a second. And we're just going to use that to do the whole interior of the boat. Let's go ahead and roll this out. We're going to do the gunnels, and then we'll do the floor last. And we'll finally be done with the floor. Alright, we did one coat. Now I'm going to come in with the one more coat of waxed Gelcoat, and that'll be done. Alright guys, so we got a primer coat on the boat, and you can see I went for a darker color at first, and then I went with the Whisper Gray over the top. I also went ahead and took off the seat deck that was there. I just didn't like how it looked. It just looked kind of ghetto, so I ripped it all off and I ground out all that glass that was there. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit that with Gelcoat. And what I did was I sanded this nice and smooth, so the line for my non-skid is gonna start here. All this will be non-skid. and this is just gonna get sprayed. So alright, so that's the first coat. I think it did pretty well. I'm gonna wait till it ticks up a little bit and we're gonna hit it with a wax coat, and then tomorrow I'll come in and do the floor. I'm gonna redo the C deck on here, so I just you can see some of the swirls from when I ground out. That's no big deal because we're gonna hit it with a thicker coat of gel coat now. So nice and uniform. I like it a lot better than with that C deck on there. Alright, we got 2 coats on here. So that's that. So I mixed up about 20% Duratec with the gel coat. So I thinned it out a little bit. I'm trying to get the right consistency. I added until I got the right amount. So that looks about right. Just about what I want. And that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks amazing. That's exactly what I wanted.
Is this the one that's got sand in?
Yep. You see it? Looks good. Right. I'm gonna let that tack up. Let's peel off this tape. And I'm gonna come back, so I'm gonna sand this down a little bit. You can see I got this area to kind of match here, and I brought the non-skid right up to here. I did go through a little bit over there, but it is what it is. I'll spray this over again another day, but for now it looks pretty good. For the first time doing an entire deck, I'm pretty happy with how things came out. It's very strong, and it's very light. So for this boat, we have left the bulkheads that go down here, the bulkhead that goes over there. I'm currently painting them, so you'll see that in the next video where we're putting this whole boat back together. I'm putting out new videos every week on boat restoration, whether it's my flats boat, my Grady White, or the Seacraft that I'm working on. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.